Jason Bittner from Triple Helix Corporation, and welcome back to our Helix Insider podcast. Today, we're going to talk to you about something very interesting in our world that we've not yet really touched on, and that is the importance of good imagery, either in your websites or in your marketing collateral, and why that's important. I'm joined in studio today with my Director of Marketing, Lauren Gully, as well as my Director of Operations, Konstantin Wojcic. Welcome, everybody. How's it going today?
Going all right. Yeah.
So, Lauren, I'd like to start with you. You've done a lot of our product marketing and our work on our websites. Let's start off with telling our viewers the importance of good imagery and why it really matters on both your marketing collateral and your website.
Yeah, absolutely. So product marketing is an essential part of every business. You really want to showcase the products that you offer, the services that you offer to your customers. But if you're not using high resolution images on your website and in your marketing initiatives, it can actually decrease your credibility and just have you come across as less professional to your intended audience.
Where would some of the imagery be used? Like, what are the examples of various kind of campaigns and things we would use high resolution, high quality imagery for?
Absolutely. So high quality imagery is used in a variety of different marketing initiatives for a company. You might use high resolution imagery on your website to showcase your products, your services. You might use high resolution imagery in email marketing campaigns when you're reaching out to either prospective customers or current customers to keep them informed of your offerings and the different things that your company can provide. You might also use, imagery when it comes to your social media posts. Using high resolution imagery in social media can convey a more professional appearance than using some low resolution or just images grabbed from your cell phone. So those different, places that you might utilize those different the different places that you might utilize the high resolution images that you have really set the tone for how your intended audience is perceiving your brand. So, making sure you have those high resolution images in place across all the different marketing channels that your company is utilizing can really give you guys a more professional appearance.
Yeah, and when we say high resolution, we don't necessarily mean large, right? What we're really meaning is that these are highly professional, highly resolved imagery that is polished, professional, sharp, clean, and concise. Not that it has to be very large necessarily, but it has to convey that professional feel, because nothing says more unprofessional than you're looking at a website with a pixelated image, right?
Definitely. And there's definitely a difference when you look at, a picture that was taken on a cell phone side by side, a picture that was taken on a professional camera or, by a professional photographer. And when you're putting a picture out there that your audience is seeing, you really want to make sure it's as high quality as possible. So no, it's not just the file size. There's really a lot more to it. The image isn't pixelated. It's higher quality. It's very clear. It's crisp. It portrays that professional look when you look at it that you don't necessarily see when somebody is just snapping a picture on their cell phone. So making sure it's high quality all the way around and it evokes that professional appearance that you're really hoping to get, in your brand's reputation.
Right, right. This is why stock photography services are so very popular, because they represent an easy way to find images of something you might want to put on your website or in your marketing collateral, and yet you may not have the ability to shoot that. With this podcast, I actually wanted to introduce to our listeners a very interesting new service that we're offering to our customers, and that is 3D rendering as an alternative to professional photography, especially for products and imagery of products that a customer may want to showcase on their website or their collateral. Lauren, talk us through what that new service is offering and what it's all about.
Yeah, absolutely. And just to go back to a previous point that you touched on there that I want to mention to our viewers, stock photography, right? One of the biggest challenges with stock photography is you can't always find exactly what you're looking for. And this is a good segue into the conversation about our new offering, because if I'm looking for a specific image of a product that I offer, or a service that I offer, something I want to portray, and maybe on a specific background that I need for my marketing campaign or my marketing initiative, it's not always possible to find those in stock photography libraries. The libraries are very diverse, but they don't have everything. So it may not be possible to get exactly what you're looking for. The new service that we're offering is really cool. It kind of takes, just simplified here, a CAD file or a 3D file that a client or a customer provides us with. We can kind of take that file and turn it into a 3D version, bring it to life as a 3D version of that product or, that product parts, and put it against a background that's representative of their brand or business. So they get this really high high quality picture of their product or their product part that is just as clear, crisp, and beautiful as if a professional photographer was standing right there capturing the picture for the company. So it's a really cool way of us being able to get them professional product images that are reflective of their brand, reflective of their business, without them paying thousands of dollars and going through the hassle of setting up appointments with a professional photographer.
No, that's very good. And that's precisely why we're offering it, because we recognize that, professional photographer is quite expensive. And, if you're shooting images of say your facility or parts in your facility, that it would take a lot of time and money to set it up, notwithstanding the cost of just shutting down the facility or the areas that you want to shoot the product shots in. Constantine, talk to our listeners a little bit more about like how this would all work. Like, what do we need to get started, and how does it actually produce the intended result?
Yeah, of course. So typically, when you're a company that's dealing with small parts or even large parts, you'll have people working in CAD software or 3D software. There's a variety of different softwares that people use to create those parts, but essentially what we do is we would take those CAD files or 3D files, which will be like an STL file or a OBJ, and we take those, put those in a CAD software, convert those to either an OBJ or whatever we can put into our 3D rendering software, and then we pipe it into the 3D software and put it into or set up a professional lighting rig in the 3D space, make it look good, add the textures, do all of that, make it look very professional, as basically emulating what it would look like in a photography studio. Then essentially take the shots of it in the software and render it out based on the specifications. If we need it to be higher resolution, if we need it to be smaller, if we need more white space, we can easily go in and do that. Versus if we were to do that in the traditional photography sense, you have to go back to the warehouse and reshoot those photos. We can essentially do that in 3D right there.
What I like about this process is that, we've been talking a lot about artificial intelligence, AI generated imagery. And so now this actually offers the added benefit if you render the image and it looks like a product shot that you had taken in a studio, but then you actually add AI behind it to generate the background and you marry those two together, you can get a very powerful and professional looking image shot that looks like it was shot in your facility or a manufacturing facility in this example, from a professional photographer for a fraction of the time and the cost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that I think we touched on different AI tools in a previous podcast, like Midjourney and what's the other one? Stable Diffusion. Yeah, we can utilize that technology to create really professional background photography, and then really highlight that part as if it were looking real in the factory right there.
And just to touch on what Constantine is talking about too with the AI, there's a time and a place for everything. So the thing with AI is you're not just getting a customized background. You're getting, as opposed to stock photography where you may have another company somewhere at some point that has used the same image. AI is truly personalized. So we're creating a background that's unique and specific to that brand and company, and we're able to put these professional product images on it so they can see, their image, their high quality product photo on that kind of personalized background. And there are some instances too I want to touch on with, where somebody may need a transparent background or a white background for certain marketing initiatives. Maybe you just want the product shot on the template of your email campaign or some other marketing initiative that you're working on. And we can do that too. I mean, certainly if you don't need a robust, comprehensive AI generated background, we're able to also give them that kind of transparent or that white background that they need. But AI really does take it to the next level and let us provide that personalized experience and personalized image for the client or customer.
Okay, that's great. Back to you, Constantine. So now with this new rendering service, what does a customer need to do, and what do they need to provide us to get started? And how long from when they provide what we need from them till when we can actually deliver a result? Tell me about that process.
Yeah, of course. So I think that that's probably one of the best parts about this is the customer really doesn't need to do that much. Essentially, they'll send us the CAD files or whatever 3D files that they need, and we'll assess from there, see the complexity of it. Um, it we'll probably do that beforehand, assess, complexity of their parts and whatnot. but yeah, depending on the amount of files that they send over and the complexity of, if they want the backgrounds, how they want it shot, and everything, I would say, yeah, we can get a quote out to them pretty quickly, but the turnaround for this is usually, you know, 24 to 48 hours.
Oh, yeah, that's amazing considering how long professional photography shoots take. It's the scheduling and the setup, and then, of course, the lighting. And I mean, that's very, very fast.
Yeah, yeah. Traditional photography, you have to hire someone to come out. You got to shut down the factory, of course, take the pictures of the parts, and then if there needs to be any revisions, like I had said before, you have to get that person back out there. So if they missed a part um, or something's off on one of the photos, they'll have to go back out there, and that's going to cost more money versus the 3D rendering route where you just tell us what we need to do, send us a new file, whichever, and it adds, maybe an hour more of work, if that, and we can get the turnaround so much quicker versus traditional.
Right. There was one thing you had mentioned when we talked about like how this whole comes together, and I was very impressed with this when you showed it to me, was the material selection. So it's not just necessarily the part, but it's actually like how the part is going to look, right? So you can have materials that make the part look like a burnished metal or a polished chrome. The surface finish, it really matters, and particularly when you're showing a part that is going on, say, marketing collateral, the ability to get that really professional polished look and feel is so very important. And with this service, you can really have a lot of flexibility and a range with what the material is. So if the client doesn't like how it's looking, or it's like, oh, that really wouldn't be what my part looks like, I think my part would look a little bit more like this in real life, you can literally at a flip of a button just re-render it with the surface finish, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, 3D rendering software gives us the flexibility to also change the material. So, say if you want, if your parts are done in stainless steel, we can ensure that it looks like stainless steel. But also, if you want a certain machined finish on top of it, or maybe a certain level of gloss, or maybe it's too shiny. Maybe we have our parts looking a little bit more dull, or whatever sort of nuance that you wouldn't be able to get normally, we can do that in the 3D rendering software and be able to make it look exactly how you want it. So those revisions is another part that you wouldn't be able to do in traditional photography. The part would be however it is, but say, especially if you're trying to do a new type of material or a new type of part that you haven't even manufactured yet. Maybe it's still in uh, the CAD phase, and you just want to get an idea out, for example. We can try out different materials for you, and we can try out different things. There's so many. There's an infinite amount of options essentially for doing that. But yeah.
Right. No, that's good. So I see we're getting close to the end of our time here. So I wanted to just loop back to Lauren. Lauren, final thoughts for our listeners?
Yeah, so your product or your service really is only as good as your marketing efforts, right? Your marketing is kind of the first thing that people are going to see about your company. You really want to make sure it's professional, like, and it conveys the tone that you're going for with your business, your brand, your company. So that really starts with high quality images. People see your website, it's kind of their first impression on you, really. If the images are low quality, pixelated, just don't look that great, people are going to turn away. They're going to bounce, right? Our goal is really to take those customers and take those prospective leads and turn them into paying customers. And your website makes that first impression. And even with your existing customers, your email campaigns, your social media, whether you're trying to capture leads or you're just trying to convey updates to your existing customers, those images are really what people are going to think about you. So making sure you have those high quality, professional looking images on your site and on your different marketing campaigns is so important. And it is the money that you're going to spend, the time that you're going to spend setting up appointments with professional photographers. I mean, investing in a service like what we're offering is really so valuable. I mean, it saves you tons of time, tons of money. It takes the huge hassle out of going back and forth and coordinating appointments with photographers or having to shut down your facility to get those shots. So that's what I would add here is just really put a priority on your marketing initiatives because they're going to pay off. They're going to pay off in the long run.
Excellent point. Constantine, final thoughts?
Uh, yeah, I just think overall, I think the 3D rendering stuff helps everyone out. It saves you time, it saves effort, and yeah, I mean, it helps you get really nice photography out there, and that's really important for your marketing, for your business, everything.
Excellent. No, very good. So, to our listeners, if anyone has sparked interest in this service, please don't hesitate to reach out and contact us, 860-490-3488 or www.3xcorp.com, number 3, X like X-ray, corp like corporation.com. And also, please, if you enjoy this content, please like and subscribe on our podcast below. And for now, that's our Helix Insider podcast today. Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.